I'm a musician from New Delhi, India. Creativity to me is an outlet for me to express anything I feel or anything I want to convey. It doesn't have to be more complex than that.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Closet Writer Chronicles. I'm your host Sangeeta, aka the Moody Marshmallow. You just heard our guest for today, Ayush Handa, better known by his stage name Handa. He is a singer, songwriter, music composer, and session pianist. He is also a co founder at Flip Studios. Ayush and his music has been featured by Rolling Stone India, Rock Street Journal, Apple Music, Spotify, and more. Join us as we talk about his journey in music and his newfound interest in investment advisory services. Ayush also talks about his experience with addiction and getting a second chance at life. Tune in. Hey everyone, welcome to the Closet Writer Chronicles. This week I have with me Ayush Handa. Welcome to the show, Ayush.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So, Ayush, like I've known you for a while now, but we've never had a conversation like this. So, first thing I want to ask you is, what is your earliest memory of being creative?
So I started playing when I was three.
Okay.
So my earliest memory, I don't like. I remember big moments when I was that age because so it was my birthday. I think my fourth birthday or fifth birthday, and my piano teacher. So my piano teacher was teaching me for free
Oh, okay.
because because like she was our neighbor and she was like, okay, cute kid, let's teach him piano. So, so, so she used to teach us. They teach me piano, and on my fifth birthday, she wanted to give me a keyboard.
Okay.
Or my and fourth or fifth birthday, I don't remember which one. But obviously, as a kid, I thought a keyboard must be like enormously expensive. Although it was like a Yamaha, like a chota Yamaha, so it must have been like not that expensive, but still. So like, so like I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but matlab, maybe I'm very good at this, and that is why she's giving me a keyboard. So that was a confidence boost at least. But but like on hindsight, I was just a kid, you know. So so then those are my memories. Then I had a few performances.
Oh, nice. So, what was like the first song you ever played, you performed?
First song I ever performed, it was a, I think, initial grade piece called My Little Pony.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a classical piece.
Okay. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
no idea. So,
yeah. I don't know who the composer was, but yeah, I used to play that piece quite a lot. I still remember how it goes. I must have played when I was three or something. I still remember it. I learned it well.
no,
So
but that's amazing that you kind of got introduced to music, at such a young age, and that's something that's kind of like stuck with you for so long.
yeah, and thanks to that neighbor.
Yeah, no, for sure. The fact that she, taught you, and she must have obviously clearly seen potential and talent, which is why she was like, okay, cool, let me like teach this kid. And
I don't think it was
you,
potential or talent. She just thought I was cute, and she was like, she was like, she was like, let's spend time with this 3-year-old.
oh my God. Yeah, but I mean, but you took your Trinity exams and you
Yeah,
cleared all
yeah,
your grades.
yeah. I cleared all
So
the grades.
that doesn't happen if you don't have the
I
potential and talent.
coincidentally had talent, but I don't think that was the reason why she took me though.
It's okay, Irish modesty doesn't suit you. Anyway, moving on. No, but really, it is cool that, music's kind of stuck with you. But having said that, when did you kind of decide you wanted to pursue this professionally? Because a lot of people, they learn like music or dance or whatever at a young age, and it'll just be a hobby or it'll be something that they kind of let go of or just kind of keep as a hobby. When did you realize that this was something you wanted to do like full time?
So when I was 12, I was quite sure I'm gonna do music. Mostly because, so okay, you have to understand that I was a 12-year-old. So in my mind, my older sister, my second cousin, had told me that if you get into the school band, all girls will want you.
Oh
Okay,
my
and
god.
I was like, okay, cool. That is what I want to do. Okay, so 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 I was the youngest person in the school band because I was obviously 12 or 13. But my reason was because my older cousin had told me, okay, okay, this is this is what you should do. And she was like in 11th grade or something, so she was a lot older. So anyway, that's how I joined, and I was like, okay, cool. And it did make me quite like, at least everyone knew me, and like I made a lot of friends because of that. So like then once I started playing with bands, that's when I really started really liking it. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, this is something I can do in the future. Plus, originally I wanted to be a concert pianist. So when I was 12 or 13, because I was very good on the piano,
Hmm.
just that, and I was going to be a concert pianist till the age of 19, I think. After that, a lot of shit happened, and then my plans got derailed. Then I started doing other things in music.
But at any point you didn't kind of double guess or like second guess yourself that, oh, maybe will this be a stable enough career path for me to follow, or is this something I should just do like on this as a side hustle or something like that?
I mean, so for me, it was like, even if it's not stable, it's all I wanted to do at one
Hmm.
after a while. Like, there was nothing else I thought I would do, or I would even try. So that was it. Now I have side hustles which are not music, but like they don't have the same passion. And I'm not a very, like, as you could probably tell by now, I'm not a very planned person. Okay, so 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 everything, my best work comes out of passion only. When I'm really interested, I just get lost in it, and sometimes things happen. But I'm disciplined in terms of when I have to do work, I work. But um, that's not when my best work comes.
When
So
you're disciplined.
yeah, I,
Okay, that's
it's
interesting.
it's always when not planned anything, or when it comes out of passion, or like it comes out of like, I don't know, I just felt like doing something that day, and that
Okay,
is when
that's
the
interesting.
best work comes. When I try to schedule it out, I'm productive, but it's not creatively very good. So like for mixing, for something like mixing or mastering or something that needs more analytical work,
Hmm.
being planned is probably better.
Okay, that's so you don't like say, because now obviously you are composing and producing your own music as well, right? And you've come out with a few songs over the years now. So it's never, I mean, do you practice then every day in terms of, I mean, not just piano, but say even songwriting or, just playing around with tunes and figuring out? Is it like do you have some form of routine of just practicing or for even singing or anything that matter? Or is it just very organic for you?
So I do practice every day, but I don't have to force myself for it.
Hmm.
Like I anyway do it. Like that is all I do. So 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 I'll be practicing anyway. So it's not something I'm conscious of. Okay, I have to practice. Or
But then how do you kind of figure time? Because obviously now you do have a studio, right? And you're also kind of trying to do your own independent music as well. So
oh, I
how
don't
does that?
sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% sure you've not seen a person with as bad of a sleep cycle as me. So My friends are all stunned by it because I sleep for like 3 to 4 hours,
That's
and
insane.
I sleep at 10 a.m. because before in the morning nothing happens.
Okay.
In music, at least from my experience, in the morning nothing happens. If all your clients are asleep, all your coworkers are asleep, there is no one awake in the morning.
Okay.
So,
So
so
it's
the
not
best
just
time,
you.
yeah. So the best time to actually like when the least productive time is the morning for most musicians. So that's the
Okay.
time. That's the time we sleep. That's how it is. There are exceptions to this. Like we have had clients who are morning people, but they're usually much older.
Okay.
So like they probably learned that with age, you know, and like responsibilities and like they have kids, so they have to drop them to school, stuff like that.
That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Wow. So basically, it's a fraternity thing at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
The musicians are all awake at night making music, while
Yeah,
during
but
the day,
I mean
everyone's
it
sleeping.
makes sense also, no? Because like if you see all your gigs, all your events,
Yeah.
they all happen at
Hmm.
night. So yeah, anyway, I have to be up for most of them. So so your weekends go like that, and then after that your weekdays you just get used to it
Hmm.
because you're like so recently I've started to like so I had started investing in like 2018 in stocks and everything. So recently I've started up taking up a side hustle, which is being an investment advisor. So I'm giving
Okay.
those exams these days so that my mornings get occupied because I don't have anything to do in the morning, right? I have to sleep, yes, but besides that, so yeah,
So wait,
that's how it is.
how did you decide to then pursue the whole investment advisory thing?
Basically, because I was very good at it. Like I started naturally, I started researching more about it and stuff like that. So
Okay.
then I gave a mock test and it was quite easy. So then I was like, let's do this. Yeah.
But that's amazing. So you're basically a musician who's now also got a sort of penchant for investment and finance, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah, and that also because I don't know how it happened. Just that I read a few books as a kid only and
Okay.
realized
Like
I
which
should be
books,
investing.
if you remember?
I was Benjamin Graham's books and Warren Buffett's books. It was very.
Okay.
It wasn't very informative. Like I didn't remember the information that he. I remember some of the information. Well, a lot of the information I don't remember anymore. But it just put it in my head that I should probably invest where I grew up. So, so yeah, where I grew up, with my first salary only, I started investing.
That's amazing. Because usually people will wait to kind of make a certain amount and then start investing. So it's interesting that you started as early as you could.
Yeah, true. Anyway, I was bad at it for a while before I
Yeah, I
got
mean,
good at it.
yeah, I mean, it is trial and error, obviously. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
something you can like
Yeah,
just.
plus because it was my own money that was going there, right? So like I would also just feel bad if it didn't do well. So you would like research more, right? So that it makes sense to actually start with your own money.
Wow. No, but that's amazing that you got into that. You have this interest also, and that's something you're exploring and you want to kind of take up
Huh, huh.
seriously as well.
Although like right now though it's mostly just music. This is something I'm exploring only. It's like a new business avenue.
No, but the fact is, you're giving yourself that opportunity and you're not limiting yourself. Because it's also, I feel like it's very easy once you're sort of pursuing something or you're sort of I don't want to say label, but you're in a certain comfort zone, then you sometimes other people will obviously tell you that, oh, that this person can only do this, and you also kind of tend to limit yourself. You're not doing that with yourself, which is why it's really cool that you're still, you're like, no, I'm interested in this and I want to kind of explore it and see where it can take me. So, I mean, more power to you for actually exploring and going out and trying. That's still better than someone, who's not, or who's like afraid to. So hopefully
Yeah,
anyone else who's thinking.
basically the idea came because like I was anyway investing for my friends.
Oh,
So
wow,
like
okay.
then I figured Kim I should probably like become legitimate because I was just
Wow.
giving like tips on a WhatsApp group, you know. And then I was like, we will do this.
Oh my god. That's insane. So wait, what would you say are your top investing tips? Now I'm very curious to know.
Then in general, I would recommend companies that are, if you're starting out, companies that have a high return on capital employed, that have less debt, and debt to equity is about zero point 0.3 or lesser. And I'm not a believer in PE ratios in India because PE
Okay.
ratios are like, in India, it does not make a difference. Like, if something's expensive in India, it will stay expensive generally. So like free cash flow to price does matter on some businesses because if you have a cash flow, you can grow faster. Plus, profit growth is the last thing you should see, and plus consistency.
Hmm.
So if something is consistently growing, the management has no problem. You'll probably make money there.
Hmm.
There are some exceptions, obviously. Like why I invested in this Hazur multi projects is when I was obsessed. I was looking
Okay.
at some 3000 charts every day, and I found that this company had no market cap but had a 1000 crore order book.
Okay.
And I was like, either this is a scam or I'm right.
Okay.
So I had put ki matlab, even if it had like a profit margin of 1%, the company would double, right? Because it
Hmm.
wasn't worth that much at that time. So like uh anyway, so I had put like a very small amount because I thought I can be wrong. I have never heard of this company, and there are a lot of scams that happen here. So it could still be a scam. I'm saying it could still be a scam, but the point is, I took out my money when it went up, right? Now I
Right.
took
Yeah.
out my money, my capital when it went up. For retail investors, you don't know a lot of information on these small cap companies at least.
No, but that's really interesting. And wow, I never thought I talked to you about finance and investment on this podcast. So that was not the agenda when I called you here. But no, it's really cool that we were able to explore this side of your interests as well. But yeah, kind of coming back to music then. So I think as we spoke, you do compose your own music and you have been coming out, with your own singles and stuff over the past few couple of years. You're coming out with an album also later on. So then when did you realize that you could like make your own music in the sense that you could write, you could songwrite and also sing?
So I was doing that in school only. Half of the things I do right
Really?
now, I was doing in school. So I
I mean,
don't
I
think
just
I've
knew you
changed.
played piano. I didn't know about the songwriting and the singing.
Yeah, but yeah, so I was probably what college gave me is like, okay, now you're an adult, so you can probably do this. Like, in school, I was in a very protected environment, like in terms of like, uh, if I wanted to release music, I didn't know I could record it myself
Okay.
because I thought studios are like what you see in films, right? You go to a studio, you have to record it, stuff like that. So I never knew that. Okay, I could do it myself. I did figure okay there were people doing like working with FL Studio and stuff like that. which was there were people doing that, but I never got into that till the time I. But like before that, I was composing all the time. I was making songs. I was just not recording them. In fact,
Okay, wow.
some of the songs that I wrote then, the one big thing that changed was I started using Hindi.
Okay.
In school, I used to write in English. Yeah, so that
So
changed.
wait, what was like the first thing you wrote, if you remember?
Some English song, man. And a lot of the times it was some cringy shit. Like I used to write, I wrote songs for my girlfriends, and
Oh,
then, like stuff like that. I've always done that shit. Like, like even school assemblies. I don't know. Once though I even wrote for. So there was a competition which we ended up winning, in which we had to make a song on the environment.
oh, interesting.
And like that was a good song, but I don't remember. I don't think I have the lyrics anymore. It was a good song though. So so stuff like that I wish I had kept. But some of it I have still in my notes, and some of it is really bad. But but I have them.
Wow. I didn't know
Yeah.
you were writing like since school. I figured writing was something new in the sense that maybe you started doing it once you were in college or something like that. I didn't realize
In
you were
college
doing
I
it
changed the
throughout.
language.
Hmm. So then, did you find it easier to write in Hindi, or like how different
No,
or
I found
similar
it
was
much
it for you?
harder.
Okay.
It was much harder to write in Hindi. In English it was much easier for me. But the point was कि मतलब I just thought in college I got into this phase when I was uh, like English music gets influenced very easily because
Okay. In
that's
the
what I've.
sense?
So if you're listening to Led Zeppelin, you'll end up starting to make songs like Led Zeppelin. Right. On the other hand, I was not exposed to Hindi music at all. So when I used to
Ah, okay.
compose something in Hindi, it used to be very unique because it didn't sound like anything else. You know.
Okay.
So I thought my English music was getting influenced a lot, which was probably not a bad thing because it will still find a niche eventually. And but I thought my Hindi music was much more unique. But it was much more hard for me to write, but it was unique.
Mm.
And plus my English music everyone loved instantly. As soon as they heard it, they were like, okay, cool, this is fine. Because it was very conventional. The Hindi music was also a little edgier, or like it was just thoda sa, it was a little strange also, you know. So like it was different. So a
Uh-huh.
lot of the people that have made them here, they had like they were just confused at first. So that is what like attracted me to it. Okay, it's better to make someone confused than happy to listen to your song.
Wow.
Like, because if you're confused, like how I see, like these days I've been listening to this Jay Paul or something,
Okay.
which is an artist that came into 2013, and he sounds like no one else. Yeah, Jay Paul. So he sounds like no one else. He's an artist who got signed to a label, and then his album leaked, and then he left the music industry, and recently he's coming back to it. But so I listened to his music, and he sounds like no one else. So I was like, yeah, that's basically what you're going for, right? If you're sounding like anyone else, if there's any other band I can think that sounds like you, then that is, I mean, to an extent, that is fine. It's probably better for pitching you,
Okay.
because even when
Hmm.
you're pitching to a Spotify playlist or something, no, they ask you who do you sound like. But it is so bad because if you're making music, Spotify should actually just pitch you according to their taste, right? But I guess it saves time when someone says, "Okay, I sound like Coldplay." They'll pair you up with people who sounds like Coldplay, you know, you know. But
Oh, that's I didn't know. I didn't know you had to like pitch to be on a playlist.
Yeah, you have to pitch, and you have to tell them if you sound like anyone. If you don't sound like anyone, they will probably not playlist you. And that's
Oh.
so bad.
I just figured there was like a team just going through new releases and then figuring out on which
Yeah,
playlist to
that is
put
what
you
I
on.
also thought, but that's not the case.
Wow, this is a new piece of information which I did not know. But no, it's really interesting to kind
Yeah,
of hear
so
about
even
this.
clients that come to Flip, like, I won't name the client, but we had a client who, how do I tell you this story without naming anyone? So, so, so hypothetically, okay, so we had a client who came to us from with a big label behind her,
Okay,
okay, and she was like, she wants to sound like this artist, and she gave us the artist, okay, and even the label was like, okay, you make her sound like this artist, so that
okay,
we don't have problems in pitching her with this artist,
oh, okay,
so like, so it's like, uh, it's not the weekend, but suppose it was the weekend. So imagine a person comes and tells you that we want music that sounds like the weekend, which by the way a lot of people ask for.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, okay, interesting.
But and then basically the label was supporting them in that they will pitch you with the weekend,
Okay,
right? So I mean that really takes out a lot of the creative aspect because you're essentially plagiarizing, just doing it nicely.
or you're quote unquote adapting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's how most industries actually work. But I mean, it kind of leaves out the artists like Jaipal or like
Hmm.
artists that sound unique will have a hard time initially.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, until and unless they find like a loyal enough fan and listener base
That you have
who
to reach
really
that
back them.
you have to reach that listener, right?
Oh yeah,
Spotify will not
100%.
playlist
Yeah.
you only who will listen to you. Right, so it has a lot to do with that. So a lot of the bigger artists now they started out with these songs and then went wherever. There are obviously exceptions.
Hmm.
I would say Radiohead was an exception early days, but that time these technologies weren't there. Spotify wasn't there.
Yeah,
Uh, a new artist I can't even think of that sounds very
different.
very unique. I mean that has made it very big at least. So
Okay.
so it's just how it is. That's why music has become more bland. There's no character in anything these days. Everything is
Why do
minimal.
you say that?
No, everything is minimal, dude. You see your fire hydrants, okay? Those have become minimal. You see tables,
Okay.
tables have become minimal. Earlier there used to be such a lot of karigari and everything. They've all become minimal. They,
But it's interesting you say music has become minimal. I mean, I don't know. I
I mean,
mean,
you're
I
you're
think
probably thinking of like, who are you thinking of? Like,
no, I'm just trying to figure like when you say minimal, I'm like what do I'm not able to understand when you say music has become minimal.
what I mean is like music has become, in terms of the effort that is put into music, they know that there are certain formulas that work. Like there's this guy called Max Martin. He has the most hits in the world, basically. Did you ever hear of Max Martin?
No.
So he's made
No.
half the hits. Just Google him and see how many songs he was involved in. He's a songwriter for many, many big artists. Okay, so he writes for many artists. He's probably written your favorite song currently, at
Okay.
least. So,
Okay.
so like it's a game. You can play this because he's written probably like 300, 400 songs.
Like even for Adele?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my
He
god,
writes for
really?
everyone. So,
Oh my god.
so there
Okay.
are very few exceptions, and there are also like co-writing partnerships. They just put Max Martin in a song because they want a hit.
Taylor Swift? I'm just
Taylor
throwing names
Swift,
now.
I'm not sure. You can Google it. Maybe. Oh, Taylor Swift stopped working with Max Martin recently.
Oh, oh, okay. But she has worked
Yeah,
with him.
she has worked with We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together.
Oh my
Right.
God.
So
Not
that's what I'm
okay.
saying. No, that was a hit. So he basically writes hit. If you want a hit, you get Max Martin. He'll get you a hit.
Wow.
So it's and it's not like so there are some very conventional things you will see in music. I can even explain you how they do it. It's like a formula. And if there's any formula in music, you're making it less, you're stripping it out of character, right? So if you see old songs, how they were hits, there were songs that were like 9 minutes long that became hits.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Because if you think of like Bohemian Rhapsody as a hit,
Yeah.
it was so unique. There's nothing like that now. There was nothing like that then. So like, so stuff like that cannot be created, no, in an environment like this because they won't allow you. If nobody is gonna hear your music, the chances of you getting a hit is also like near nothing.
That's interesting. Wow. We've painted a slightly morbid picture for the music industry, but
Yeah, but it is like that. I mean, it'll change eventually. I mean, also you would see that rock music is dying. So
is it?
yeah, because you know why? Because drums are too expensive to record.
Oh, really?
Legitimately, I think that's the reason. Because 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 see, you're making beats and anything else that's electronic is a lot cheaper than acoustic instruments. And
Hmm.
most,
Even though acoustic might sound much better.
I mean, that's also very subjective. No, a person may like rock music, a person may like hip hop music. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're and I'll tell you the difference. Like if a rap song costs X amount of money, a rock song would cost 5X, right? So it's 5 times the money. So like if you're gonna make
Hmm.
like a song, I mean you could make 5 songs in that. You could make an album in the amount of money you would spend in 2 songs and 2 rock songs. And I'm talking about short rock songs. If you're making something with Bohemian Rhapsody, that's gonna take a while.
Yeah. No. Production value on that, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. But but that's the thing, no? So genres are not dying because there are no listeners. Genres are dying because it's too expensive.
There's no money.
There's no
There's no money coming in,
yeah,
basically.
and plus like for the industry people, it's like return on capital invested, right? Right. So they want their return. They don't care
Yeah.
about like if they see a lot of money in rock music, they'll probably start promoting a lot of rock music. No, which
Hmm.
may be the case,
Okay.
which may be the case in the future, but it's highly unlikely until drums are cheaper to record.
Okay. If anyone has a solution to this, if there's an entrepreneur looking for a solution, make drums cheaper and but good quality. But yeah. Uh,
Imagine how you would go touring if you have a person with a beat and a rapper or something. You have one person going on tour. Like the artist is one person, not including the sound engineer or your crew. The
yeah.
artist is one person. If you have a band, you have like 5, 6 people going on tour with you. That's 6 times the cost again. So like for a person to bet on a rock group is very rare.
No wonder Ed Sheeran's doing so well.
Yeah, but Ed Sheeran is also not a rock group, right? Ed Sheeran is more of
No,
a
but
singer
he's like a one
songwriter.
person show essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the reason that singer songwriters starting going.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
No, but I do enjoy Ed Sheeran's music. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Ed Sheeran's a great musician. But the thing is, now he also has, now once he's reached that point, he can get drummers, he can get everyone he wants. Okay, but like the
Yeah,
industry to take a risk on a person, on a band is very hard. And plus, bands don't last very long. Like
that's true.
most bands
In
break
today's
up.
day and age, definitely.
So
Yeah.
like they can't take that risk either. It's very hard to pitch rock bands, very hard to pitch unique music.
Hmm. Wow, that's no, because when you're talking about this, I was thinking of publishing and how, like, right now, one of the things is obviously the conversation is that nonfiction is what sells better than fiction. So now there's also this sort of movement in publishing where you see a lot of publishers actually publishing a lot more nonfiction. They're a little more skeptical about taking manuscripts in fiction. And even if there are like great stories and manuscripts coming their way, and you will see editors like fighting for those manuscripts, they'll get shot down because marketing and sales will be like, no, we don't have an audience or readership for this, or we don't know how to position it in the market. So it's a very, yeah, I think this is a common problem in a lot of, I think, creative industries in that sense. But yeah, coming to Flip Studios, how did that happen? Like, how did you decide to kind of set it up and like figure that you wanted to kind of set your own studio, and like what has that journey been like for you?
So I was working as a professor in music school earlier, and
Hmm.
what ended up happening, it was 2020, and
Okay.
all my classes became online,
Right.
right? And online classes as a teacher was so bad. Like like I did not enjoy teaching. A lot of the things,
Yeah.
like a lot of people preferred it, I would say, but like I did not enjoy online classes. So I started losing interest in that. It's like I did it till the time my students gave their exams, or like till the time I could pass them off to another teacher. So I waited
Yeah.
for the other teachers to uh, take them up, and then after that I left it. I wasn't doing anything, and then I was like, I was making my own music, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I was like, uh, and I saw, okay, all the studios in Delhi have shut,
Hmm.
right? And then I realized,
Yeah.
man, there is no competition in this industry. There are no studios
Okay
in
then.
Delhi. Right. There's no studio in Delhi at that time because it's 2020. So I was like, okay, let's make a studio. And exactly because
In
there
the
was
middle of a
no,
pandemic.
yeah. So,
Wow, okay.
so, so there was lockdown everywhere, okay? And basically, I had most of the equipment, okay? So I just started, okay, I'm gonna do it online at first. And we started out online, okay? And then, so I got COVID 4 times.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by the time I was getting to my third time, though, I was like, hey, bhai, I mean, this is just how it is. Okay. So, plus, Delhi had a bad crisis for COVID also
Yeah.
because there was nothing that was working and everything. So, anyway, so uh, when the studio started, it was only online. And the online business was working well because there was no competition. Then afterwards, once things started opening up, we started getting physical clients and everything, and we kept getting COVID because of the physical clients. So
Mm.
we kept so anyway, because all of us were young and are young, so like it wasn't a big deal. We would get COVID,
Hmm.
stay at home for 2 weeks, studio would shut for 2 weeks, then we'd come back. But the worst
Okay.
was when the so running a studio during a pandemic, the worst thing is कि when you think that you have COVID, but you don't actually have COVID.
Oh,
Because
okay.
a lot of the times, like at least in those when COVID came and everything, a lot of the times there were COVID scares, right? कि your client met someone, he has COVID. So
Yeah.
then 14 days
Yeah.
are gone. So like so like stuff like that really annoyed me and the other two partners, because then you can't really risk it also, no, at that time.
Yeah.
But anyway, we figured that out. We had good business and everything. Now recently what's happening in the studio is we're splitting ways. So
Okay.
my two partners want to go in a different direction. I want to go in a different direction. All of us are going in different directions basically.
Okay.
So like everything's changing. But anyway, I'm gonna continue the studio with different
Okay.
goals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, but then obviously this is like an quote unquote entrepreneurial venture, like in a sense, right? So then what has it been like? Like, what do you think you've learned, or in the sense, like, what are some things you thought you'd never have to deal with, or you realize that, oh, I should have thought this through, or I should kind of have this skill or know about this, before
Yeah,
like
yeah.
properly
A
working on
few things
something.
I learned. One, I learned there's a lot of money in music. Like there is,
Okay.
because that was the first thing I realized, because there were people who were willing to pay a lot more than I expected. Okay, so
Oh, wow.
so
Okay.
so even though I had done a few little bit of market research, then I realized that, like, if you hire us, we'll probably charge you less than what we charge a corporate, right? Because of the
Okay.
scale, because of where all they can use it, because of where all they can pitch.
Right.
Plus, we would also probably
Hmm.
empathize with you more than we empathize with corporates. So, so, so,
Okay.
so all that makes sense, you know. So like, that stuff I never accounted for. I thought if an iPhone costs X, it'll stay X for everyone. But that's not the case in
Hmm.
any creative field almost. I don't know
Yeah.
about publishing, but like at least in video and what do you call, in music, it's the same thing. So
Hmm.
plus I realized that there's there's a huge untapped market in indie musicians, because nobody
Oh,
wants to
okay.
record for indie musicians.
Interesting.
Because indie musicians, like, one, they generally have problems financing stuff. They
Hmm.
generally have issues in their schedule. They're generally not very disciplined. So,
Okay.
so there are a lot of issues in terms of who you're hiring. Corporates, on the other hand, like, their work may not be as exciting for you, but they're always on time. They'll do their work and then
Yeah.
they'll go. Right. So, plus
Hmm.
the mistakes I made, one of the mistakes I made was designing of the studio. So we
Okay.
made a few errors in the designing of the studio, and then we had to fix those errors. So
Okay.
like, so
Interesting.
like those kind of issues, like soundproofing, how you're designing the studio, we should have put more thought into it. But it was also 2020, so
Okay. Fair.
so yeah. So a lot of the stuff was like DIY. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know. So that stuff obviously had issues. Then we fixed them. And the other thing is recording drums. Like recently, we've given up on them. We don't record them anymore.
Wow. After all that
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
drums.
Because what we've understood is like recording drums is hella expensive. Even for the artists, it's definitely expensive. For the studio, it's expensive in terms of you're gonna make a entire new room just for drums. So it has to be used as often, right? So
Right.
eventually, I want to do it for drums, right? As a person running a studio, it makes no sense, because
Hmm.
if you want to support the art, then it makes sense. Then you get a drum room, which I will get eventually, hopefully.
Huh.
Okay, but like we started off with a drum room and it made no sense because
Okay.
that was the designing mistake we made, right? Because drums is something like there aren't a lot of drummers. The music industry has changed in terms of okay, there aren't any bands as such.
Right.
So I want to eventually do it when once I get a very big space, and I want it for me. Like,
Okay.
that's the only thing you can make. It cannot be a business. It's not a wise decision for a business to have a drum studio,
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
Okay.
unless you're like recording for the biggest artists in the world, then obviously it makes sense to have everything. But like, at least in Delhi is not the place where a lot of bands are anyway there. You know, there
Fair.
aren't a lot of bands here. If there are successful bands, there are a few successful bands, and they have their own recording spaces, right? So if you're going to one studio, you'll continue to go to that studio for a fair amount of time until you have a bad experience. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But so drums is something that like if a band has made it, they are not coming to you unless somebody else really makes a mistake. Okay, so
Interesting.
and plus if you're gonna start with a new band, it's anyway too risky.
So then, okay, we've spoken so much, and you've already kind of shared like your views a little bit on this. But what is your general take on the independent music scene in India today?
In the independent music scene in India today, I would say there are less opportunities in terms of
Really?
there are
Okay.
definitely less opportunities in terms of if you sound unique, if you have a different voice, it'll take you a while to make it
Okay. Yeah.
because people will probably not pitch you. And if you sound bland, if you sound like everyone else, you'll make it to an extent. Right, but the advantage is that anybody can make music. So if
Right.
you go, the way to go about independent music is you have to do your own independent music and something else in the beginning at least. So either
Okay.
you get into
Fair.
the production side or the session music side or anything else. So what
Or learn investment advisory.
yeah. So what I do is like session music, production with the studio. Session music is basically playing instruments for another artist. So I play the piano for a lot of
Oh,
artists.
okay.
Then I make my own music and investment advisory is what I've started with. So but yeah, most of the money that I make comes from the studio or session music.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
like so like independent music is very new for me right now. Like it's not making me that much money or, because I'm not doing live shows as an independent artist
Right.
because
Right.
so if I was doing live shows I would probably be making a little bit of money from there. I don't want to. I want to release as much music as I can. Now gotten in with like bigger artists in terms of I've known more people. So right now the person who's I'm working with is Amit. He
Okay.
with on my independent music side. So he's a on the first season of Indian Idol he came second.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's sung
Wow.
for like bigger names. Yeah. So that's how independent music is going. Otherwise, studio is always doing well. Studio always surprises me. Like sometimes no, like when I'm like there have been phases when when we have less clients or something, and somehow some miracle happens in the studio and clients appear. Like I don't actively go out poaching clients, you know. They just
Yeah.
somehow somehow when we need them they come. So
You're manifesting
yeah.
it. No, But no, apart from that, like, you don't think, I mean, obviously, you've said that it is tough if you're like unique sounding to then find the opportunities and the audiences. But then, would you say it's still a fairly good time to be in the music space in India? Or do you still think there's just like a lot to get through to become more accessible, or just like have the industry be more accessible?
See, the music scene in India is very good. The music scene is very good. The independent music scene is not
Okay.
good. So,
Okay.
so
Fair, fair
if you
point.
get to the music scene, there's a lot of money here. There's a lot of scope here because of the simple thing that there aren't a lot of musicians in India. So
Hmm.
like you'll
Okay.
get work for session musicians, you'll get work for producers, you'll get work for everything. But you won't get work for an artist. The hardest place where you can make money is where almost every musician goes wrong. Is trying
I
to make
see.
money through the artist line, and the artist isn't even the person making the most money. You know,
Okay.
because that's what
Hmm.
everyone is aiming for, to become a singer, to make a big band, to become a rapper or something like that. But if you're a producer, you're working with like some 50 artists, right? So even with the odds, who do you think is making more money, right?
Yeah.
So so, so stuff like that, like being an artist should not be about the money. Being an artist
Yeah.
should be about like what do you call, your creative outlet.
Right.
But everything else you have to see the money side as well,
Yeah. For
because
sure. Which is
there's money in
important.
everything else. There's money in session music, there's money in production, there's money in writing
Yeah.
lyrics. I don't see a lot of producers complaining about having no money, but I always
Yeah,
see,
because they're the ones making it.
yeah, yeah. But like I see a lot of artists complaining about not having no money. Because where they go wrong is like they invest so much in their fucking music that they want
Hmm.
to advertise it, they spend such a lot on the music. And honestly, in India, it needs a lot more money than they have to
Right.
advertise it well. And like any industry, if you're gonna start a steel plant, say, okay, you need a lot of capital. So how a
Yeah.
big artist is made is through a lot of capital. Generally, it's not your talent that is gonna make you. It's not gonna. It can. It will definitely help if you have talent. But like, but like, but
Wow.
it's not even
Okay.
the most important factor. The most important factor is capital. If you don't have capital, it's a big dent. So that is what independent music people are struggling with, right? They don't. A lot of them don't have capital. And I'm not going to take names, but a lot of the independent musicians that we listen to had capital, and that is
Okay.
why they
Interesting.
came to that position, right?
Right. Interesting.
So there are very rare, very few examples of people who didn't have capital who made it today.
Hmm.
So like
That's
you have to
fascinating.
see how, uh, and you have to be practical, man. Like you can't just be. You can just chase your goal, but you will go broke. There's a very, very high chance of you going broke eventually. Like you have to chase your goal with other stuff. Like I'm
Yeah.
doing stuff that can complement my own music as well, right? So if I'm doing session music, I'll become a better pianist. It helps with my music also. If
Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
producing, I'll become a better producer. It helps with my music also. So like,
Yeah. Because you understand how a producer thinks, and hence you know how to kind of pitch and yeah.
so a lot of the stuff, all of that really makes a difference.
Yeah, no, because again, if I have to compare to like again publishing, it's like everyone either wants to be a writer, wants to get published, or wants to be an editor. It's like beyond that, no one like they don't look at okay, there's actually like production, there's design, there's again rights, business, finance, like no one's really looking at those things as
Right,
much
right.
as they look at these two main components. But yeah, I mean, I think almost every other, I guess, creative industry has the same issue where there are a few roles which are like, oh, those are considered the ultimate, and they don't really look at the other things you could end up doing as well. uh, so yeah. But then who are like some of the artists, musicians that have kind of influenced you, while growing up, or just generally that have impacted you and stayed with you and have really inspired you?
So in terms of sound, I would say Amit Trivedi really inspired me initially.
Hmm.
Out of
Okay.
the Western musicians, Trent Reznor inspired me,
Okay.
and Amit Trivedi had a very unique song with sound with Devdi, which I really liked at
Yeah,
that time.
that's true.
So then after that, A.R. Rahman inspired me. Then like classical composers like Rachmaninoff inspired me. But all of these inspirations basically like became something. Yeah. So then you can't really differentiate what really inspired you because there are so many things. Like I like certain songs. I don't like the artist, but I like the song.
Like,
Like there's this band called She Wants Revenge, I think. I think it's called She Wants Revenge.
okay,
And the song is
interesting.
called Tear You Apart. Okay. The song is awesome, but the band doesn't have any other, like they have good songs, but it's not something that really strikes you. That song really strikes you. Like that is near perfect song. But,
Wow,
but
okay. It's Handa
yeah.
approved.
but but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there are so many things that have inspired you.
Also, how did you decide to come up with your stage name Handa?
Oh, that's because I was playing shows and like whenever I used to play with my school band or like anywhere I used to play with, nobody really called me by my first name. So if anyone
Okay.
really chanted my name, no, you have these school events and stuff like that, and people used to chant your name. They used to chant Handa. So
Wow,
so then
okay.
I figured कि मतलब they anyway gonna call me Handa. So it makes no sense to have a, a first name. Although when I'm releasing the next release, I may use my first name because it's a very
Okay.
different sound this time. So I'm working with a singer.
So by Ayush
Yeah,
Handa.
maybe. I've not decided on it, but yeah, maybe.
Or A Handa. Okay, because that was like, I was like, oh, why is he using his last name as his stage name? But yeah, that makes sense. If everyone's been calling you that and during performances and stuff, that's how
Yeah,
you're being
because
referred to, then
chantable,
yeah, I
no?
mean,
Like people say
yeah,
Handa, Handa, Handa. Like
Handa.
it's just
Yeah,
easy to chant.
yeah. And I know you have a hashtag Hero Handa also, which I've seen you use, which I was like, wow, this is great marketing. Yeah. but, but yeah, I mean, shifting gears a little bit, I know in 2019 you did make a post on social media, on Instagram. I think it was for like World Mental Health Month or Day. I don't Yeah, where you came out and you spoke about being a former addict, about recovery, coming out stronger, and really like talking about, giving, like, getting that second chance for yourself. Why was it important for you to come out and talk about it, especially since, obviously you are like an emerging musician, you're just about, putting your music out and kind of creating your own brand identity, and this could potentially seem like a risk in the middle of that. So why was it important for you to just come out and talk about it anyway?
So how I thought about it is like, because when I had the problem of addiction, there wasn't enough knowledge about it. So like
Yeah, there still isn't, I
how
think.
in India, so there's no infrastructure only to treat it. So there's barely any infrastructure to treat it. You don't know how to treat it. Honestly speaking, it took me like I think good 2 years to get out of that.
Mm,
But
yeah.
if I had the right infrastructure, it could have been solved in like 3 weeks. You know? Yeah,
Really?
it was that simple. Once you because the addiction is a disease that will grow if you're not treated. Right.
Hmm.
So initially when I had the problem, it could have been treated by in 3 weeks because I wasn't even an addict when the problem happened. Like I
Okay.
was basically what had happened was I was getting issues because of insomnia. I was an insomniac. I still sleep less, but not as less as I used to. So
Hmm.
I used to have problems with insomnia, staying up all the time, high pressure. I had injuries which were causing a lot of issues. So uh, so that could have been treated very easily by a mental health expert. But the fact is that a lot of the studies that are being used in India aren't very updated in the new stuff that comes out. They're still using research reports from the 1980s, which was mostly propaganda, right?
Okay.
So that they could ban certain substances, tax certain substances, or like whatever it is. But like
Hmm.
the point is, if someone could have said, okay, this is the problem, you solve this, then would have been fine. Life would have been very different. What ended up happening is that they started working on addiction because they thought it's addiction that's causing all of these things in the initial stages. And once they started treating that, then I thought, okay, maybe I am an addict. And then everyone I started talking to were already addicts. So I became an addict after starting treatment on it. So
Oh my God.
I
Okay.
became an addict because I was staying with addicts. Do you get it? Like, so when I used to come out, or like when I used to come out of therapy or like treatment, so then I started using with those guys only who were already addicts.
I
So I
see.
got
Okay.
into much more severe drugs, much more riskier drugs, and then getting out of those took a while
Yeah, for
because
sure.
basically the therapy that I went for made the problem worse every time I went for it. Right.
My God.
So
Yeah.
that's so in the end, I didn't even go for therapy. I didn't even go for anything. I just quit on my own because I was like, okay, this is just India. This is how it is in India.
Hmm.
So then,
No, but obviously you did have like a support system, right? With like your family and friends
yes,
and
I
just
did have a
generally, I
support
would assume.
system, but my family was not in a position to know a lot about the disease, right? Nobody
Yeah,
really
fair.
knows about the disease. Nobody has faced it themselves. And there's no, if your doctor is telling you something that's based on a 1980s report, then you're probably gonna agree with the doctor, right? That the doctor probably knows more. But in
Hmm.
most cases, that's not like. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Like, so so recently, a friend's cousin got the same problem of addiction, and probably,
Okay.
and so he contacted me, and basically I gave solutions that I wished somebody gave me.
Okay.
Because he also got cured in like 2 3 months. He was fine. 3 4 months he was fine. So like that really cut the time a lot, right? Because it would have taken him good 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So basically there's a lack of knowledge. So I wanted to talk about that so that people like that who are going through something like that, either they get a ray of light or like at least they can contact someone who's been through something similar. Because honestly, if I had someone like that when I was going through something, the same thing, it would have really helped me.
Hmm. Right. But then, okay, what is it that you think? Obviously, people who don't go through it, and there are people who do. Like, what is something you wish then, like, people just knew about the condition?
That's not
Because
you doing
obviously,
these
even as
things, no.
people who,
It's a disease. You have to treat
huh?
it
No,
as a
in
disease.
yeah, it is exactly. So, as a disease, like, what is something Like, say someone who is going through it, what is something, okay, what is something you wish someone had told you?
Okay, I mean, it's not your fault,
Yeah.
because you would always think your addiction is the addict's fault, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
usually the case that he's put into that situation somehow, he or she.
Hmm.
Like he or she
Yeah.
doesn't know that he's gotten into it, or did not. I thought didn't even intend to do drugs, right? So how I got into it, I used to go to the gym every day. So like how I got into it was because of an injury. I started having symptoms of psychosis because of an injury, because of all the lack of sleep, because of everything else that was
Okay.
happening. Like I was, um, there were certain things I was allergic to that also didn't help. So all of that was causing a lot of stress, and I started getting symptoms of psychosis. So when I went to a therapist, they blamed it on marijuana, which did not make sense at that time.
Okay.
Okay, because I wasn't smoking all
Okay.
the time. So anyway, so what ended up happening is, then I got exposed to much harder drugs in the rehab itself.
Right. Oh,
Right,
okay.
so I started using a lot worse drugs, and then I paralyzed my leg because of heroin and stuff like that. So like, eventually it became a lot worse because of the lack of knowledge that the first few doctors had. Right, they did not check all the symptoms. Like, they did not see what could have gone wrong. They just went to a conclusion and just stuck by it. And plus there are a lot of problems in our laws in terms of, okay, if you have health insurance, it will never cover psychosis in general, or drug induced psychosis is not covered. So like a lot of people, uh, and plus it's very easy to manipulate someone when their kid is dying. Like if you want to take out money from someone, just use someone's health, right? It's the easiest way. You have no choice. So a lot of manipulation happens here. A lot of uh, like scams happen here. So one of the rehabs did nothing. They just kept me in a place and then just beat me up for no reason and asked for money for that.
Hmm.
So like a lot of these scams happen in India. So you have to be very careful. India does not have the infrastructure to treat these diseases right now. Eventually, it may have. Right now, it does not.
Yeah. Hmm. But more power to you for really like coming out of it and really like getting this sort of renewed and second chance at life in a way, for sure. And how you're, because you are today, you are thriving, you're, I think you're really living a very holistic life in a sense, be it with music and everything you're doing, which I think is really cool.
Right, right.
So
Thanks.
yeah, more power to you, man. You're being an inspiration for the youth with everything that you're doing.
Thank you, thank you.
Hashtag hero Handa, this is where you use it. But also, I need to say, in that same post, you said, जब फिर से रॉक स्टार बनूंगा तब बुक पब्लिश करूंगा, which basically translates to when I become a rock star again, I'll publish a book. So when can we expect this book, and what are you planning on
Once I
writing
don't have
about?
to introduce myself, that's
Oh, oh.
that's where I publish the book. I think
But what will you write about?
I'll write about the same experiences, man. Like not just music, but also about psychosis and drug addiction, all of those things, and how the music industry has changed, how you work around it, stuff like that.
I think, yeah, I can't wait to read it whenever you end up writing this. I hope you'll give me a copy before it's pitched to
Yeah,
a
done,
publisher
done.
so I can see it.
Another friend of mine so even gave me an idea so that you should write about the psychosis one right now, do the music one later.
Yeah, actually, you should.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, maybe. I'll think about it.
Yeah, because I think it's much needed also. Because, like you said, since there isn't much knowledge, people don't know. It does make sense to have some sort of I guess, reference point if it's not even there in the first place, to just kind of start the conversation, basically.
Right, right. Maybe you can
But
help me out with that.
but yeah, yeah. Oh, the manuscripts and editorial, I'm always down to it. So yeah. So this manuscript is we're birthing this manuscript right here. Ayush Handa is now writing this book. And I have just appointed myself as an editor at the moment. That's what's happening right now. But no, no, you should write this book, and yeah, I can't wait to read it whenever it comes out, whatever you choose to write about, and also all the amazing music you're going to be coming out with soon for sure. And with that, we're coming towards the end of this interview, and we always end with these last two questions. So the first one is, what are your aspirations? This can be personal, professional, creative, just, things you're looking forward to in the near or even distant future.
In the near future, I'm looking forward to expanding the studio because
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm running it as a sole proprietor, I have more freedom in terms of making decisions. So I want to expand the studio. I want to work more with the artists that I'm working with. I have a few shows that I'm gonna do with Amit, so I have to do those, and I have to release my album. Long term, I have no plans. I mean, I make good decisions generally, so so as long as making good decisions in the short term, I'll be fine long term.
Okay. And last question, what is a piece of advice or learning you'd like to share? This can again be personal, professional, just something you've experienced in life and you just wish other people were aware of.
Do what you're good at, not what you love, and if there's the same thing, you should do them. Then you're lucky, basically. Because if you're
Ah,
there are a lot
interesting.
of people in the music industry, especially the artists that come to us to record. Some of the artists that come, they don't have talent. They shouldn't be doing music, but they love it. You know,
Yeah.
I get that someone loves something, but if you're not good at something, it's only a certain, like, loving something will take you so far. Like, it'll take you to get to learn it. But it also depends on your
Right.
age, right? If you're 35 and you're still struggling to make songs, like we have clients like that. So like if there's still if you're 35, it's a good thing that you're 35 and you're trying to do something, like trying to do something new. So, but these guys have like been there for very very long, you know, and they're actually very good. So there's a client of ours who's very good at a certain thing, but he wants to do music. So like it really like it's hard to explain to these people that like sometimes, man, like in every industry you have people who are good at certain things. You have people
Something,
who are
yeah.
not. But like what I would say, if if you love something at a young age, then you'll definitely be good at it afterwards. So like if you
Mm,
start dancing and you love dancing as a kid, you're probably becoming a great dancer by the time you grow up. Right. But if
yeah.
you're
Fair.
starting to love something now, it'll take you you can get very good at it, but you shouldn't bank on it until you get good at it. Right? You can't be like,
Yeah,
okay, all
100%.
my chips are on this. Like so this guy was who the guy who's 35 was very doing very well at whatever other thing he was doing. So like him coming to music was like so strange that I still like all of us were scratching our heads. Ki, what do we tell this guy? How do we do this?
Ah,
I mean, there is ambition for sure. He came there, right? But like sometimes it just makes more sense to do what you're good at. But maybe, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that 35-year-old guy
yeah.
is a great musician by the time he's 40 or 45. But you have to give yourself that much time. Like by 40, if he's very good at it, I would not be surprised. But like right now, it'll take him some time. especially because he's not coming as uh, like a person who can sing. Like he does not know how to sing. He does not know how to play piano or like any instrument. Like so, like it'll take him a while just to learn things.
Yeah.
So yeah, give yourself.
I feel like this is when we should play Ayush's song Bistar Chhod Ke for reference.
Yeah. But that's the thing though. Like it'll take you to a while to understand anything that you do. You have
Yeah.
to give yourself that time. Because this client came to us and then he released the first song. The song was bad.
Okay.
Like we told him that before he released it. And then he got really demotivated and everything. But then he agreed to us and like d- started doing what he was anyway doing earlier. And now he's learning music on the side for now. Till the time he's recording also some stuff. And till the time he makes something that's good,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
till the time he can make it himself or like he can make it such that
Because it's a process,
yeah,
for sure.
otherwise you hire people to do it. There are people like that also. We have clients who are just good looking. Okay, I swear there are clients that labels bring us who are good looking. They can't sing, they're not musicians, they're nothing to do with music. They tell us write a song for this girl, write write all the lyrics, make all the music, just give her a mic. And she cannot sing a note, okay? But we have to do it take by take, take by take, take by take, or just teach her that one song so that she can sing it.
Oh my god. Oh
But
my
that's how the
god.
music industry is
That's
there. So there
insane.
are the people like that. They're usually very well connected. They know someone in the industry. But yeah, मतलब, either you have capital or you have talent or you have both.
I love how we keep coming back to this. Oh my god. But yeah, on that note, we have come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much for being here, Ayush. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for
No,
having
no,
me.
it was
Same
lovely
here.
talking to you, and more power to you and everything that you're doing. And yeah, can't wait to hear all your music. Can't wait to read the book. And yeah, just more power to you. So that was my conversation with Ayush Handa. That really covered a lot, and I'm so glad that I could have him on the show. And with that, we have now come to the end of season 2. Don't worry, I'll be back, closing this episode with a song composed, written, and sung by Ayush. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you after a few months with a new season, new guests, and new chronicles to share. And don't forget to follow us on social media at The Closet Writer Chronicles on Instagram to get updates on the show and a fun bonus episode in the works. Talk real soon.
कभी बाहर होगी शबनम